Hello, boys and girls of YouTube. Well, if any of you have been following my videos, um, the objective for my next video to show you was actually the motor running. Well, I had to do a few more things before I did that video, and one of them was just to go over the car, make sure some of the fuel pump wires were still connected correctly, and a couple other things. But long story short, over the weekend I did start the car. It did run. I did want to videotape that, but in one of my previous videos I kind of mentioned that I really don't multitask well, so doing a video and trying to start the car was not really something I was planning to do. I was planning to have it start running and idling, and then grab something I can take a video with and present you guys with, how it was doing. Well, long story short, yep, said it again, that the motor ran. Like I said, if any of you have been following this at all, last year for Drag Week 2019, I had an issue with RPM signal going to the ECU. I believe a vacuum leak, because the motor would not idle below, the lowest I got it was 1800 RPMs, and had a big oil leak in the back of the motor. Well, of the three, I only got one fixed. The RPM signal is actually much better now. It's great. I had to rerun the wire. Works fine. The problem currently still, I have an oil leak still, and the motor will not idle below, I think I got it down to maybe 28 this time. So, played around with it starting a couple times, then realized maybe the second or third time in, the thing was running super lean. It's probably because I got a big vacuum leak. With that, turned the car off, was trying to figure that out, but since it was running lean, everything got super hot. The air intake sensor, temperature sensor for the air, that was crazy off the chart. But one of the things I did want to check that was running or working well are the injectors. So I'm gonna go and test them now. There's luckily in TunerStudio you can actually go and test that. So right now I've got all but one disconnected, and just want to hear if it triggers, because I only have 4, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But change that to this one. Basically, the injector 1/I and injector 2/J are the two channels I have hooked up, and I'll go over that in a little bit too. But let me just start by checking the 1 first, and hopefully you can hear it click. And I'll just change that to 1. And I can hear it clicking, so I'm going to stop it. So right now I'm going to stop this video and connect another one and do a test. And I'll start back up on the screen. Alright, we're back. And I have the other injector connected, so hopefully I'm going to start and you'll hear that one go. And I hear it, hopefully you guys do too. So I'm going to stop that and connect the other ones. Hang on while I do that. Alright, we're back. For this one, so I changed it already. I had to change it from injector 1I to injector 2/J. And I'll turn that on and you'll hear that go. If you can't hear it, I'm letting you know it is going. So that's a good sign. One more to check. Hang on. Alright, we're going to check the last injector now. And I hear it going. So that's a good thing. I'm going to stop that. Now, I'm going to bring it over to the motor so this way you can kind of see what I was testing. So forgive the shaking, the moving, blurriness, or whatever else might happen. Alright. Long story short, yep, third time. Be drinking game pretty soon. This particular motor, I have a supercharger. It's a 427 small block Chevy. It's a dart block with bore is 1.25, stroke is 4-inch. Got 6-inch rods in it. Anyway, I didn't go with a pre-made kit from Holley or Fast or any of the other people that are making a kit. Basically, I was trying to piece it all together only because these things get expensive, and really I should have just saved my money and I think bought a kit. But long story short, yep, again, drink. I decided to buy all the pieces separate as I was going along over the last 3-4 years. I forget when I started actually buying stuff to convert this from carburetor to fuel injection. But anyway, there's a plate from Holley that has 4 injectors on it. Clearly, if you look, I can't put an injector for each cylinder because, I don't know if you can see down there, but there's no way with the supercharger I can get them in there. Now, this particular supercharger is from the blower shop, and they actually make a 671 or 871, I forget which one it is, but they actually have started putting bosses for fuel injection in the blower housing. Now, that is kind of cool, and we know it works because if you know anything about Drag Week or Hot Rod or Roadkill or any of those shows that show Michael Finnegan and his 55 Chevy with the blown Hemi in it, well, that had, I'm pretty sure that was an 871 from the blower shop with the fuel injectors in the side of the supercharger, and it worked well. So, but getting back to my setup, long story short, the way that the plate designed from Holley actually is, on an angle. You can see right where the fuel line goes up, you'll see it on an angle, just like all the kits where the base of the carburetor, base of the throttle body, I should say, is facing, the inlet, normally the 4150 inlet. Now, for this plate that Holley makes, they only make it as a Dominator style, so a 4100 flange. So that's pretty big. So I get a throttle body that was as big as that, which is good because this motor will suck in some CFMs. So that throttle body on there is supposed to flow 2,200 CFMs. I don't know if it does or doesn't. It's the China one. I'm actually truly regretting getting that one. I think that might be part of my high idle problem. I don't think it's all of it. I think it's part of it. Now, let me get back to the motor here, and I'll tell you, maybe start talking about the vacuum problem I've got. Well, for this particular motor, I had a different blower on originally. I had an old B&M blower, and when I went to actually put the manifold on for that, it didn't fit well. There was gaps. Normally, you don't see that type of gap unless you mill the block or the heads, and everything was brand new. So everything should have been the spec. I actually didn't measure it, but in hindsight, I guess I really should have. So somewhere along the line, there's a problem. Now, to solve that, literally, Felpro just makes a double thick gasket. Put that on there, and I'd say 1,000,000,000 to 1, it solves the problem like every time. But when I put this manifold on, it didn't seem to have that problem. So I didn't use those extra thick gaskets, but I might have to. Now, I'm looking at, I don't know if I can zoom in. I'm looking at the spacing, and you'll see it hopefully right where that little bit of gasket sticking out. There's an ever so slight angle of the manifold that doesn't match the head. It's ever so slight, but I'm thinking maybe that was just enough to create a vacuum leak. Zoom back out. Underneath the manifold. Because, again, like I said, I took all the vacuum lines off. I'm pretty sure the gaskets for the, injector plate, I also got a nitrous plate, and then the throttle body, I'm pretty sure those gaskets aren't leaking. Even if they are, they can't be leaking that bad. Now, I did say I had a lean condition, so that would kind of maybe indicate that there's a vacuum leak somewhere. And if I can't find it up the top, it's maybe in the bottom of the manifold. So I'm going to rip this all apart again, because I have to fix the oil leak again. They make this product called The Right Stuff. It's like RTV in a can. I'm going to try that. They say it's harder to actually get the manifold off if you actually have to take it off. At this point, I'm kind of desperate with that oil leak too. So I had a little bit of leak in the front, kind of where I was showing you. Let me zoom back in. In the front here, right where the manifold meets the China rail of the block. But this time it didn't leak there. It definitely leaked exactly the same way in the back of the block. And I know it's not coming from any of the seals, because it's on. You can see it dripping from the top down the side of the block onto the ground. If it was any of the seals, it would be dripping from the crank, and it would be straight in the middle of the motor. I definitely did not see any oil in that section, so I'm still saying it's a China rail. I guess I didn't do that great of a job. Maybe the gap's just bigger than what you think. But I'm going to try some different stuff and go from there. So, to end this video, finally, right? I'm going to take this thing apart again. Put the thicker gaskets on for the manifold. Hopefully get that oil leak problem solved with some different type of RTV stuff. And then hopefully I get it all together, get this thing started, and you'll see actually a running motor this time. So, you can get all that taken care of. Maybe I'll do a video in the middle and go from there. But anyway, till then, bye.